You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to V.A.C. Roundtable number 73. We're very lucky to be joined by another dedicated person in the cannabis space, and this is one that we definitely want to educate you on, and we want to thank Nicole Redler, who has joined us tonight, and she is with ReCompass. And we're just going to get right into it off the bat. So our first question, Nicole, is kind of a multi-tiered question, because people come to cannabis in different ways. Sometimes they dabble in it and then they go away from it and come back. So tell us your story about how did you get into cannabis and, how did it end up being your life's calling? So, you can start with from when you were first turned on. So let us know.
Totally. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here and really excited to have this conversation and tell people about what I do and how we can continue and expand this work. So I really appreciate it. Just wanted to start with that. So I would say that I had an introduction to cannabis at a younger age. It was never seen as a harmful substance, but as I was younger, obviously was deterred from it until a proper age. And once I had the opportunity to consume cannabis, I can remember when I was really young. You remember those like bucket hats they would have with the patch that was like Route 420? I remember wearing that when I was way too young to be wearing that. I was drawn to that type of culture. My dad was really into music, The Dead, Steely Dan. He definitely was a consumer most of his life. And once I started consuming, I remember I told my mom that I told her beforehand, we were always very open. And I said to her, Mom, me and my friend Libby, we're going to smoke pot tonight. Is that okay? Like, is it all right? And she said, that's fine. Just don't get into the liquor cabinet. And I think that was great advice. We were in a safe space and we're able to, consume, figure it out. I can't say I jumped right back into it after my first time. I swear it was very much similar to a psychedelic experience on psilocybin. The first time I smoked weed, it was wild, but I was still drawn to that culture and continued to consume as I got older. I remember it was, as I mentioned, it was never seen as like a harmful substance. It was more that my mom had very much put the fear of God in me that if a New York State trooper ever caught me with cannabis, my life would be over. So it was always something that I was very cautious to be too bolden about. In New York State, I grew up in upstate New York, very rural. In northern New York, in the Adirondack Mountains, I think it's an interesting fact that the school I went to, there was 87 kids, kindergarten through 12th grade. There was 5 kids in my grade. It was almost like going to an extremely small private school in the middle of the mountains, and we had amazing opportunities to go skiing and be out in wilderness. Definitely a different type of education than most public schools or more urban schools. From there, I moved to Albany, New York, the big booming metropolis of Albany. I couldn't wait to get out of the northern New York. When I was in, my college ages, I did dabble in procurement, I guess you could say, or sales, and just enough to smoke for free, which I thought I was pretty badass doing that, just giving it to my friends. And once after that, I moved to Austin, Texas, and that was, I was still a consumer, or a patient, I would like to say, because I definitely used and still use cannabis as a tool for wellness and helping with my anxiety and harm reduction substance like alternatives for wellness. So when getting to Austin, that was super challenging. I can remember that some of the folks that I connected with there to get some weed, like I remember the cartridges, they were like 2 different colors of this really nasty dark oil and this really nasty copper looking oil. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I guess it works. So once I got to the Bay Area, I immediately got my medical recommendation and started purchasing weed, legal weed. It blew my mind. From there, I remember living in, I had come to the Bay Area in the tech space prior to my time in San Francisco. I was a Lyft driver in Austin, Texas. We went through a campaign to create better or maintain access to ride sharing for drivers and passengers in Austin and in Texas. But coming to the Bay Area, to the tech bubble, and I was kind of in that tech space working at Lyft, which was, from being a driver to coming to the corporate space to San Francisco, but free weed, I'm sorry, not free weed. I'm so used to saying that. Legal weed was awesome. I can remember going to Bloom Room. That was one of the first places I went to down in Soma, and was just blown away that like it almost felt like, like you were doing something bad because we have had to hide it for so long. And I was really into it. I really appreciated being able to do that. And also I can remember ordering from Ease and getting cartridges delivered to me in 7 minutes in San Francisco, and it completely blew my mind. So when I had the opportunity to go along with my team from Lyft to work in the legal cannabis space in Ease at this booming tech company, I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. And once I entered into that role and put on my Ease hat as a community affairs organizer and grassroots advocate, it was really interesting to me to see, blindly stepping into that space, what it was all about, because I had no idea. I thought that weed was legal, it was going to be booming. I worked at this super cool, space and got to go to events and, was doing some really great work in keeping and maintaining access to delivery. That was my main goal, especially as Prop 64 was just being enacted. I literally started at Ease in January 2018, and we were going through the emergency regulations during that time, and delivery was not protected. And once I entered into that space in San Francisco working at Ease, the first thing I did was blow out my calendar with every single event that was going on in the city to meet people and see what was going on and like how what was the ways that Ease could use its resources to support patient access and expand delivery and get through this really difficult time and transition from the medical space to adult use. So one of the first events I went to was a memorial for Dennis Perone. He had passed a few months earlier, and this was at Cafe Flore in the Castro, and that's where I met Wayne Justman, and it was really powerful to see how many longstanding advocates and champions of the medical cannabis movement were still alive and kicking, and we're kind of like, we need to have someone carry the torch here because we have done our work and we are here to educate. Thank God they're still here. I'm so grateful to have some of our elders here to really guide us in that direction. But it really really set the stage for my journey at Ease. Prior to that, working in other fields and at Lyft, doing community advocacy and being a driver myself, it was really being placed into a corporate setting as a person who never really had a big girl job, dropped out of college, was a barista before that, was a bartender, was a Lyft driver. It was really an amazing opportunity for me to kind of infiltrate from the inside and figure out how we can use these resources for good. So that was, I think that's a long enough story about my intro to cannabis.
Well, we all come in our own ways, in our own unique, experiences and how we got here. And yours doesn't sound any less intriguing than others. It's a fascinating journey we all have. So thank you for sharing that. Next up will be Council Member Leslie. Council
Thanks.
Member Freeze, you're recognized.
Yeah. Hey, Nicole. What got you into charitable giving, especially with the veteran space?
Yeah, that has definitely been a highlight of the work that I've done, and specifically working with veterans has been a really great opportunity for me. As we know, there are veterans of all walks of life, and I found just in my work in community advocacy and grassroots advocacy through my time at Lyft and working very closely with Lyft drivers, we would go to meetups. We would really be passionate about this opportunity for sustainable supplemental income. And what I really appreciated was how it was, I like to call it the island of misfit toys, because I feel like it's these people just that have their own stories, but there were so many veterans within that group that found this as a really great way for them to bridge the gap or really just build on being able to survive in, these times and, having income. Many folks that had mobility challenges that they were able to drive, a few hours a day. And then once I got to the corporate space, I was really given the tools and opportunities to engage more broadly, not just in Texas, but not just in California, but all across the state. All across the country, and even doing a lot of work in Hawaii, which was fantastic. And a lot of the folks that we engaged with as Lyft drivers in Hawaii were veterans as well. And working with the Wounded Warriors Project and doing like philanthropy with them on a corporate level was the best job I could ever have. I really loved it. I was really empowered by a program at Lyft called Lyft for Good, where I was able to travel the country, go to participate and organize driver appreciation events, where we would also couple that with some type of charitable event. I can remember one event we did in Philadelphia where we, packed backpacks for the local school. We have done work with Meals on Wheels, like I mentioned, working with Wounded Warriors Project. And then once I was able to really solidify that work at Lyft, I found a very strong community within the veteran space. I find that veterans have this calling to continue their service after they get home. And that was really inspiring to me to see people that have continued to create their own communities within each space that I've been able to, participate in. And then once I had the opportunity to work at Ease, it was a no-brainer. Providing access to cannabis for veterans was one of the main issues that was happening with the adult use issue and not having compassionate use anymore in the state of California. They were also in the advocacy space. I worked very closely with Weed for Warriors Project and getting walking the halls and really having such a strong community in that space that also very much welcomed me. And that's one thing, as coming blindly into the cannabis industry. I absolutely was challenged with not knowing the setting and what was really had happened before. And I come in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and was very much turned away from many people, like, what the hell are you doing? Like this, why would we want to work with Ease? They've done X, Y, and Z. And, these, it was challenging building that community. But the veterans were very open to me as a person, which made it all the difference. And I find that in many corporate settings, there are good people that work there, and they saw through that. And one in particular, Ryan Miller, had invited me to participate in his very sacred peer support group, Operation EVAC. He hosted multiple peer support groups in person across the Bay Area every week. He has done thousands of these meetings and supported so many veterans in reintegration and providing them with access to medical cannabis, which was a new thing to me, especially being from the corporate side. So I can remember going to his events on Church Street, and it was a question amongst the veterans that he supported, like, are we gonna let Ease come to these meetings? Like, is this safe? It was such a challenging space in that conversion from medical use that there was so much competition, and there wasn't a lot of trust amongst the community in general, because everyone was fighting for their lives, literally, their well-being. So I understood that, and I very much appreciated that, and took it as a badge of honor to be invited to sit in that sacred circle and also participate and share things about myself. And I think, Ryan also saw it as an opportunity for more veterans to practice, being amongst civilians and building community outside of their own just veteran circle. So I'm always eternally grateful for Ryan Miller and the work that he's done, and also leading the way, teaching me so much about self-care. Jane Leonard, who does their meditation practices, Iris Yoga Nidra, that has been life-changing for me. I personally have grown immensely just from being a part of Operation EVAC. Now they are formerly known as Operation EVAC. Now it's Compassionate Veterans. And I have built some of the strongest relationships of my life amongst those folks. And I'm eternally grateful to have them in my life. And they've really taught me what compassion is. And that's really why I'm here, is because of Operation EVAC. Absolutely.
Thank you. Ryan's an extended part of our family. And yeah, he ran out of Berkeley Patients Group, my dispensary. So it's
I remember going to one of the meetings there.
Yeah. So yes, it's very dear to my heart. So shout out to Ryan. So we have a couple of follow-up questions here before we get to our next one. Councilmember Landau, you're recognized.
Hey, Nicole, thanks for being here. Nicole does an amazing event called Happy Management every first Thursday of the month. She invited me 2 years ago, and I think there was like 15 veterans, and there's an average about 60. Could you please share of what gives you the inspiration for Happy Management? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. We always appreciate you being there, and also all of your support. Thank you for making this event continue. We've done Happy Management for over 2 years now, every single month. It's the first Thursday of every month in West Oakland at Hella Positive, which is 1606 7th Street. Please stop by. Would love for anyone. It's an open invitation, no RSVP needed. This space, Hella Positive, is run by Ibrahim Leary, and he has been the face of Hella Positive for, I think he said today, 13 years. He started that brand, and it's very much a forward-facing, community uplifting type of message that I completely aligned with, and started going there by invitation from Lindsay Comey, who is a Navy corpsman veteran and health, a women's health advocate for many, many years. One of the most amazing people I have met, and also along with Sochi Martinez, who is a Navy veteran as well, one of the younger Vietnam veterans and one of my dear, dear friends. They kind of turned me on to Hella Positive. I started going there. It was a community space that you could, consume, private event space. That's very much what's needed, especially in the Bay Area with how hard it is to get a licensed consumption lounge. And started hanging out there. EB, I call him, was wanting to do a monthly veterans night, and I said, let's fucking go. Let's do it. Let's get some weed, and let's get some food, and let's get some music and do it. And he coined the phrase happy management, thinking about what the regular protocol for most veterans is when challenged with anger. It's always anger management. So how about we focus more on managing our happiness? And that really stuck. And definitely one of the proudest events that I've ever participated in. And I've just really supported that through my work at Ease. At that time, I had finally gotten the framework and operations and compliance down for facilitating compliant SB 34 donations. So it was kind of a way for me to showcase that work and also have a direct connection to the community in Oakland and some of our closest compassion ambassadors, is what I like to call them. I think on the other side. So we just started doing it and continue to do it every single month. We've had, like I mentioned, I think it was back in February, we had our 2-year anniversary, which was such a huge milestone. And I kept it going from my time at Ease into the transition through ReCompass. And once that happened, we really leaned on some of our other Bay Area partners, such as PAX. They have really kept this event going and allowing us to feed folks and supporting a local nonprofit food service and catering, Cocina del Corazon, which is local Bay Area owned. Shout out to Enrique. And yeah, we just have kept it going, and it's really been phenomenal to see how much it has changed people's lives. And having that community and that safe space, and like entering those doors on that Thursday with a different mindset of appreciation, of abundance, of gratitude, of community. So please, open invitation also, and putting it out there to the world as well. Come see us at Happy Management.
Love the name. All right, Councilmember Laughter, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Tim, and thank you, Nicole, for joining us this afternoon. I just got to say, it's a real pleasure to listen to you talk about your work. You're a spark of good news in a pretty gloomy California cannabis marketplace these days. And compassion work runs particularly dear to my heart. And I have found that one of the best ways to find yourself is in service to others. So I look forward to hearing the rest of our conversation this afternoon and your responses, particularly about how to bring in the corporate mindset and resources to the compassion work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
All right, Councilmember Jones, you're recognized. Peggy?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Nicole, for joining us. What does ReCompass do to be a vital bridge connecting industry-leading brands to patients, organizations, and those in need? Thank you.
Yes, great question. This will definitely get into that how we can continue this work and keep it going. I think at the most important thing that ReCompass does is education, and I think that's what's most needed. I feel that there is so much focus within the legal cannabis industry in surviving and keeping their doors open at the moment, that it is very much overlooked that compassion can be an opportunity to support that. It's very often that there's big, cannabis events and they've got samples and they're really like blowing it out and it's a huge party, woo, 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 it's so great. I think there's need to be education there that you can do the same thing for patients and get so much more ROI on your product in doing good and highlighting that and leading the way. So what ReCompass does is work with people, leading industry, brands, smaller folks, even just individuals in education, from the whole supply chain, from cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, retail, and on. I think retail is where it really stops, hopefully. So they're just telling folks and letting them know that there is an opportunity to reduce their waste, and sorry, what's a way to put this? They can reduce waste by identifying opportunities to give to patients in creating products, with, larger cultivation, waste, trim, etc., things that they would just instead put they legally have to pay to destroy any products along the supply chain, even if it has, even if it's tested fine and everything, it's just because of an expiration date or that it's a surplus and they're not going to be able to sell it. So it just kind of goes to the wayside, where we could really be focusing on this as a resource to create more medicinal products, and then also allowing for people to, flower, for instance. Many retailers will not purchase or accept any product, any flower that's out 3 months outside of the COA, when it was manufactured or tested or whatever. And that rest of those 9 months that it sits on the distro shelves, they're trying to send it out as samples, or they're trying to do whatever they can with it to, get back the cost that it took to get it even to that point, while paying their distribution center a, monthly fee to hold that product. So they want it out as quickly as possible. And there is so much education needed that there's, instead of, liquidating it if you can, or having to, at the end of its life cycle, pay for it to be destroyed, which is a cost burden, and also resources to render that unrecognizable, is so awful. It's just more resources, more waste, more toxic stuff that's being put into the environment. So my solution is to work and educate and identify product before it expires to get it out to patients in need, regardless if that product is necessarily what a single patient may need, to get it out into the patient ecosystem for it to be reused, is where my brain is at right now. Of course, in the future, it would be the most impactful to be able to create and provide, source, facilitate specific medicinal, very pointed medicine for patients, but we're not there yet. So that is my vision for the future, of being able to curate these products specifically for patients, and having retailers know how to facilitate it compliantly through their point of sale system, having manufacturers putting that stuff aside to create their own line of medicinally focused products, or products that can be utilized for patients for them to even create their own medicinal things at home. There's so much waste, and that is the big challenge that I see, in the way that compassion can be a source for good, and a win-win for everyone.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Camelford Lifestyle Shop, open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Camelford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Camelford, Ontario.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Councilmember Jones, you have a follow-up.
Yes. So at this present time, is there a system set up, for example, if you're a soybean farmer and your soy doesn't make the cut for human consumption, can it then be sent for pet consumption, or is there anything like that set up? Because I don't see a reason to waste a natural product. And there's mammals are mammals across the board. It goes for us, it'll go for them too. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great point. And one of the companies that really mirrored what my goal was in cannabis, that I had learned about actually at my time at Lyft, and through one of my old colleagues, Jen Lujan, who was the creator and founder of the Ease Momentum program. And she also created Lyft for Good at Lyft. So we have a longstanding relationship. She mentioned to me this company in San Francisco called Copia. And what Copia does, originally what they would do is go to the larger corporate offices where they have packaged lunches for their employees, and at the end of the day they would gather up the unused lunches and things and would donate it to local food shelters or get it redistributed to folks in need. And they also provide their customers, which are these large corporations, statistics and tracking system to show what their impact has been over time in reducing waste and also serving people in the community. So that was very much where my vision was, in kind of mimicking similar things to that in cannabis. But to that point, I know there are sustainability platforms out there that do similar things in other industries. And this is just the beginning, in cannabis, because there is very much, like, so much waste, just even in packaging and the boxes and the, the bags and the sticker. Like, we don't even have to go there. I'm preaching to the choir. So yeah.
All right, Councilmember Landau has a follow-up.
It's less, it's more observation than a question, but I've been to a lot of SB 34 events. I've been the ones without Nicole's system and the ones with Nicole's system, and you can upload your medical card ahead of time, and it's just so organized and quick. Where the ones without her system in place, it's all chaotic, and you can wait online for hours to get your medicine. Where with Nicole's system, it's so efficient that there's usually time to do neighborhood cleanup or other stuff where you're giving back to the community. So her ReCompassing, I know you put the folks in education, but it's also really makes it efficient. So I just want to thank you for ReCompass.
Thank you, Nate. And that's very sweet of you. And I appreciate that, you mentioning that. And that goes to show how difficult it is for people to participate in compassion. These even larger groups that have multiple storefronts, and they may be fully integrated and they have all of these resources, they are not able to put the time and effort and the boots on the ground and focus on creating these programs that run extremely smoothly, because it's really challenging to figure out the supply chain and have those connections and get the staff that's actually even dedicated to doing it and really, knows that by any means necessary, let's like make this happen and serve as many patients as we can compliantly and the right way. It's really challenging. So that's really my main focus is trying to educate people on this. And with the platform, we do have a web app and point of sale system that a dear friend and colleague of mine, and also a compassionate veteran through Operation V.A.C. I actually met him at a Veterans Walk and Talk event a few years ago, and he is a machine learning engineer. His name is Max Weiss, and he created this program to facilitate large-scale donation events. So this is really to allow for us to serve, multiple patients with an abundance pool of product that has been received to the retailer. So we're getting, thousands of units. We're serving, up to, I think events usually are between 50 and 100 patients. And what this web app does is a bunch of super techie math stuff on the end and creating receipts that are under the medical daily limit and evenly distribute all of these products. So it's definitely a tech hack on the back end, but it also brings us back to a very manual system of having printed receipts that patients are signing out. But it makes for an ease of being able to not have to upload all that into, Trees or Blaze or Meadow or whatever that is, and create these separate packages and all this stuff. Like the more of the heavy lift is actually physically packing the bags and getting the receipts all together for the next day and stickering all of the stuff, those things. But that takes a lot of work. But I greatly appreciate that recognition, but no, but, and I think the moral there is that this is not easy, and people do not have the resources to keep their doors open and also create these robust programs. So there needs to be more access points that we can get regular supply of donations to these retailers that can also connect with, like, we all need to kind of get on the same page is what I'm trying to say. And I'm looking forward to, spreading that and working with more retailers and trying to figure this out.
And we appreciate that greatly. Next up would be Councilmember Tony Landry, our next question.
Thank you for being here, Nicole. Yeah, I too felt that PTS from when I moved to Arizona from Louisiana and became a medical cannabis patient. I happened to be sitting on the front porch of my home rent house, and the cops went across the street, and I freaked out. I was like, "Oh, well, I got to get this stuff in the house," and I had my medical card, so I felt that post-traumatic drug war stress that we all feel, and hopefully one day we won't have that. And you got a vast array of miraculous work you've been doing there. I'm enjoying listening. about it. And my question is, what would you say is the ideal veteran advocacy program model for states wishing to follow suit to give away free cannabis to their veterans?
That is a great question. Thank you so much, Tony. It's great to meet you here too. The challenging thing with that in duplicating these efforts in other states is, as you all know, federal criminalization and also state rules, local control. Everyone has their own system of supply chain and varying requirements, varying legality, whether it's medical or adult use, varying tax structures. I feel like that's the biggest issue. During the end of my time at Ease, I had started digging into the regulations in other states, specifically looking at Michigan, also Florida, and Colorado as well. And there are states that do enable for free product or very low to no cost product to get through the supply chain, but nothing like California. California we are very lucky to have the Malcursa, and our medical regulations still qualify for medical patients in certain lights, in allowing for medical patients who have a physician's recommendation to receive a medical daily limit as opposed to an adult use daily limit, which is quite a significant difference in allowing for more product to get into the hands or out of the retail location and be redistributed as well. So, as I mentioned, like one of the organizations that I work very close with and have for quite some years now is This Is Jane Project. They are a national organization and they serve women and non-binary trauma survivors. There is much of an overlap and intersection of the veteran community and the Jane community, which has been really fantastic for me to be a part of. And they also have a live chapter in Colorado. And in Colorado, they are only able to receive 8 grams of concentrate, or it's much, much smaller than what we're able to facilitate in California. And it is very challenging for patients to get to the retailer and receive that medicine and then, go back and then do another event. Like, it's not enough to maintain them. Like when we do our events in LA, we're able to give up to, my goal is to give up to 4 ounces, half of the medical daily limit, to these patients to at least try and get them through till the next event, which is in 2 months. So what is really needed is to look at the regulations and figure it out, and also be on the forefront of those conversations and make sure that the mistake that happened in California, and them just forgetting about patients and compassionate programs for 2 years and just saying it was okay, and like making us fight so hard, having a bill get all the way to the governor and having him veto it, and then having to do it again. And now we're working with AB 2555 to renew this for maybe another 5 years. Like, this is we really need to be setting a precedent here, and I think we have, and people are looking to California and what we're able to do in supporting patients. But it all goes back to us continuing to push the narrative that this is medicine. We always have gone back to that, and that's what I appreciate so much about my time in my introduction to the cannabis space and the cannabis community. It was in the heartland of medical cannabis and the movement through the AIDS epidemic, and some of those folks that were really leading that charge are still here, and we can learn from them and also continue to carry that torch, because we always need to bring it back to the patients, because that's what is being so wrongfully left behind. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Nicole. Next up will be Councilmember Michael Crowitz.
Oh, thank
Coach
you.
is putting you in. Go.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. It was really nice to meet you. And who would have thought charitable giving and giving something away would be so difficult? But somehow that doesn't surprise me in our world. But I want to tailor the question slightly that I have. But the question is, who, in your opinion, is currently the most sustainable cannabis manufacturer, distributor in the industry? But I'd like to expand that ever so slightly and ask you, just to walk us through after you answer that, like what is sustainable, what's not sustainable, what do you see as good and bad out there?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that question. I would say that when thinking about sustainability in the cannabis industry, there's so many facets that are intertwined in what sustainability is, whether that be their growing practices, how they package their products, how there's so many facets to what goes into the plant to the patient or to the consumer, in ways that you can really focus on sustainability. I think it also takes a lot of money and a lot of resources. And like I was just mentioning, even with compassion and having the opportunity to keep your doors open, pay your staff, and then, we're going to do a recycling program that actually probably costs us money, and is also really not there, and thinking about how we can actually recycle these products and make a difference, or how we can be more conscious about our growing practices, if it's sun grown or if it's indoor. That's kind of a given of what is taking and how much energy and resources are going into the final product. I do really admire PAX for their contributions in this space. They just recently announced a partnership with ReCompass, where they are able to reduce plastic. Twice as much plastic waste will be removed for each product that is sold. And that's a really beautiful way to kind of step into this new chapter of cannabis, and thinking about where we're at on a national scale, and how capitalism has really gotten a stranglehold on everyone in all different industries. I'm excited for this next chapter of what we'll see coming out, especially in California. We are at the forefront of these conversations. And I'm always a big proponent of sun-grown cannabis. I think that's the best medicine, and I think that's a great way to check that box as a conscious consumer. So that's kind of where I would start. Yeah.
Really wish there was a way to I saw the other day this kid put up a Ziploc bag, and it was full of cartridge tips that were all old and used. And he's like, what do I do with this? And that is a reality. I remember, Jane Leonard, her husband, and others are, we've dealt with this conundrum for a long time, and trying to figure out, ways to deal with, just 510 carts, right? Just that alone, right? Now, what is a 510 cart? A 510 cart is your standard cartridge that's a circle that you can find everywhere, coast to coast, and any and every gas station possible. And there's valuable things inside them, as Michael was putting, from copper to steel, ceramic, glass, etc. But once cannabis has touched them, a lot of companies are having a hard time. On top of that, even the new round of hemp plastics that are coming out, there's no current recycling place that will actually recycle them. And so even with the new boundaries that are being pushed for environmentalism, which I guess you could say, seeing the ceramic cartridges are, again, a way and a difference. And I'm glad to hear that PAX is also leading the way. But 510 carts dominate the world and the market, and are going to, unfortunately, for the time being. And we know that they're only made in 2 factories in China currently. And so we know the quality standards vary from the quality of the cartridge that's, purchased outright. So um, I'm just pointing this out to you, the consumer, to be aware of. And when you see options that are more environmentally sound, do not forget to use your dollars to make that environmental choice when you see it, or when you hear about it, or when they become available. Yes, it's more expensive. Yes, it's going to cost the manufacturer more to do so. But if the manufacturer chooses, or the distributor chooses to do so, they're going to need that support behind them. And, in the tight game, I know, especially here in California, it's even more challenging to do so. But this is where we can be a tool of teaching for other states to see where our failures are and learn from them and choose better, more environmental choices. Are there any organizations, specifically like nonprofits, that follow these types of products or product lines that the consumer or the manufacturer could find or get access to, currently? Or is there any such thing out there, Nicole?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm absolutely sure that there is. And that would be a good move to, create a coalition or get more public facing about the opportunities that we have here. But to my knowledge, I don't know them off the top of my head. And I'm excited that there's, ways that we can kind of be at the forefront of this. I know even when getting data around this stuff is extremely challenging. I had, speaking more on the cannabis waste side, I had requested some data from the DCC around how much product is destroyed in California, and that was a no. So I'm really excited as we are able to get more data around this. We can see how we are able to kind of change the progression of what's going on.
All right. Next up will be Council Member Wade Laughter with our next question.
Yes, thank you, Ken. So, Nicole, what would you change, given your experience in cannabis, when within the cannabis industry? I mentioned earlier kind of the mess we have going in California, and I think it's spreading across the country. How do you see us working together, coordinating, in trying to fix this in the future going forward? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you. I would say there is so much I would change. First, descheduling. That is the biggest. I don't know what that would look like or how it would really shake out, but it needs to be in the light that, Dennis Perone and those folks that really set out for this movement of what they envisioned of it being an everyday household product, similarly to what it was in the beginning of our country, here in America, as a go-to medicine that was widely available and had no adverse side effects. That it was not harmful. It needs to be. I'm right now. I'm reading. I was able to pick up a copy of The Emperor Wears No Clothes on the sidewalk in Oakland from a street vendor, and I traded him a joint for it. So I think Jack would be really proud of me. But digging into this, it's just ridiculous. Like hemp and cannabis can really save the world when it comes to how we've, always used to be like, oh, don't buy any paper, like the trees, save the trees, don't use paper. And now we have seen the impact of what plastic has done to our society and to our environment. We really need to get back to basics and move this medicine forward as a crop as a medicine, as a tool for sustainability and environmental, environmental, the future of our country and our world, because it's getting bad. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent there, but descheduling, definitely, like I mentioned before. I would really say gutting Prop 64. I say that, and I think I'm preaching to the choir here. But my only reservation would be that I would not be where I am if that never happened. So we're here now, and we need to look forward and really get out there and do the walking the halls, speaking to our legislators, writing letters of support, letters of opposition, tracking bills, follow California normal. Really get out there and engage, because if you don't stand up, someone else against you will. And we've seen that time and time again. And now, as a passionate advocate in so many different issues when it comes to safe access and the right to choose in so many different facets of life. I think that's the most important thing, and it's definitely why I'm here. So,
Well, speaking of, as I'm going to share here. And there we are in Sacramento, dealing with the realities of us. We were lobbying specifically for changes there in Sacramento. So thank you very much for your work there. You can see also Nate and myself, amongst others.
I think you're sharing the wrong screen. That was
it didn't share. Let me try again. Let's see. No, let's try again. There we go. There we go.
There we go.
That's better. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, you can see Nicole about 4 from the left there, and then you can see the funny hats of me and Nate in the background. But yes, we were all testifying just the other week, specifically on AB 2555 in California. So it was good to see you in the halls as we continue to work towards the reality of charitable giving. The current law in California is SB 34, which sunsets in January, and the new bill, AB 2555, is one that we're working on currently so that we can continue to do what we do. BPG has done that for 25 years. We want to continue to do so. And so with that, Nicole, do you have anything that's coming up that you would like to plug or share regarding This Is Your Time to Shine?
Yes, thank you. I am so excited to be partnering with David Downs, SF Weed Week, and the Brownie Mary Democratic Club. We will be hosting a compassionate access market at Off the Charts on Bryant Street, right across from the courthouse. This will be on this upcoming Wednesday, the 17th at 9 a.m. and we'll be providing free medical cannabis to patients. Thank you so much to our brand sponsors, Kiva Cares Project, Kiva Cares Program, and just want to shout them out. They have an amazingly beautiful compassion program that is also at the forefront of sustainability in cannabis, in making sure that they are able to provide an abundance of donations to patients and not having that low testing gummies go to waste. So we're so grateful for their donations in their program. Ember Valley is an amazing supporter. They've been supporting this work since my time at Ease. PAX has been an amazing supporter as well. We'll be distributing PAX pods and batteries at that event. And also Lowell Farms, Katie Shonuff. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know if I've ever said it out loud, but she is a rock star over at Lowell Farms in Cypress and has always made it possible for us to partner and redistribute some of the Lowell farms to patients. So I wanted to give her a shout out. and PAX and Sonoma Hills Farms. They have made it a priority to provide their beautiful sun-grown cannabis to our patients in ReCompass. So they'll be participating in that event again. So just to reiterate, this is the Compassionate Access Market in partnership with the Brownie Mary Democratic Club at Off the Charts in San Francisco, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Next Wednesday, Weed Maps will be providing coffee and donuts. So it'll be a party. We're really celebrating the legacy of compassionate cannabis and the birthplace of the medical cannabis movement. So excited to see you there. You can RSVP at tinyurl.com/SFWWSB34. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nicole, for joining us tonight. I want to also thank all of our other members. And of course, we will not see everybody until the after 420. So I want to remind everybody, have a good and safe 420 out there, wherever you're going to celebrate it. We know there's going to be a big gathering in Washington, D.C., and there will be gatherings all around. So be safe, have fun. I want to thank Tony Landry, Peggy Jones, Michael Crowitz, Leslie Fries, Wade Laughter, Kendra Soul, Nate Laughter, Mike Davis, and Nate Landau. Jesus Christ, what the hell am I doing? And myself, Etienne Fontaine. We want to thank Nicole Redler for joining us for V.A.C. Roundtable number 73. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Be safe out there.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at Pace Radio.